All right. Alrighty, guys. Well, welcome. I'll kick us off here. We're running a couple minutes late, but this is a little peek at the agenda for this evening. It's very similar to some of our last calls. We're trying to be consistent in some of the messaging and updates that we bring. And so Mike Clark is going to start out and do the welcome. I'm going to run you through where we are on fundraising. Then we have a special guest brother, Jim Gerke, who's going to be joining us. Then Chuck is going to give us a construction update, Chuck Black. We're going to hear from Peter, Dave, and Kevin about the reunion coming up in hopefully September of next year. And then Mike will close us out at the end. And then as time allows, we'll have some question and answer time as well, too, if there's anything that's on people's minds. So without further ado, Mike, I would turn it over to you.
Welcome, brothers, and welcome to our third virtual chapter meeting. For those that know me, I'm Mike Clark. For those I haven't met yet, I'm a 6950, which is throwback to the other century. But welcome, everybody. In the midst of this holiday season, this chapter meeting will echo the spirit of Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future. And in that spirit, this meeting may be titled Chapter Past, Chapter Present, and Chapter Future. To convey this spirit, we have three Christmas elves with us, all smart guys, maybe even considered wise men, to present great information to you this evening. They come to the chapter tonight, not bearing traditional Christmas gifts of frankincense, gold, and myrrh, but rather those of cash, stairs, and celebration. You will hear from them as well as a special guest in just a couple of minutes. But in this time between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I want to take a moment to reflect on those two special days and the connection to the brotherhood at the Illinois chapter of DU. We know that Christmas is a time for giving and for reflecting on the season and the meaning for this season and this time of giving. In regard to the chapter, I can reflect on my good fortune to have pledged DU and open the gift that gave me more each day that I was on campus and at the chapter, and in each successive year as an alum. So transcending this actual gift is the intangible greater gift of meaningful brotherhood. Thanksgiving is a time to pause and reflect on all that we have to be thankful for. In my fraternal life, my thanks is for all the personal development I received from the chapter, all the many varied experiences with the brothers, and all the long-term relationships formed there. How thankful I am to be connected with DU. And for this gift, I echo the old commercial that said of a gift, priceless. So it is my sincere wish that in this midpoint of the two holidays, you can reflect on your own DU gift as priceless. I will step aside now and defer to ELF President Dan Gibbs, ELF VP of Maintenance Chuck Black, and ELF Social Chairman Kevin Kinsella, the three wise men of the chapter this evening, and our special guest, ELF Jim Gerke. Thank you.
All right, guys, so this slide should look familiar to you. We have the thermometer on the left with our $4 million goal, and then to the right are the details of where we are. 231 donors at this stage, giving on average just over $15,000. And as you add up everything under the donation totals, we're 3.536 million at this point, which is just phenomenal. We've had some other people join, but we've also had one significant pledge that's not going to be fulfilled, or we might even be higher than this. But I still think that this number over 3.5 is a very solid result to date, which represents about 88% of our goal. and we'll come back to that in a little bit. We have 6 donors that have given $26,000 in verbal commitments. So that brings us, not quite, if you round, I guess, to 3.6 million. So I think we're doing great so far. So this is kind of a snapshot of where we are in the campaign as of December 1st. Dave, next slide, please. All right, we're almost there. And like I like to do on every occasion when we talk about fundraising, I want to thank everybody profusely on the phone for their contributions. And most of the guys that participate in these calls tend to be people who have donated. We wish we could get folks who haven't donated, and I think there's probably some out there, but the vast majority, I suspect, have donated. And so thank you to all you guys for making this happen. It's just a truly amazing number that we've gotten to, and I thank you very, very much, as does the board and the committee and everybody working to deliver this renovation. Next. However, now it's time to close the gap on that 4 million. We've had that goal since the beginning. We just have 500,000 or a little less to go. 500,000 represents 14% of what we've raised to date. So that sounds less daunting than maybe 4 million in total. And so 500,000 is what we need to reach the goal. And, if we can get some other people to participate in this, then that would help us get on our way towards reaching that. Go ahead, Dave, next one. And the clock is ticking. We've got to get the undergraduates back into the House in August of this coming year. And every dollar we raise will help offset unexpected contingencies. I think we've shared with you before that we had some issue with some rot and everything that had to be attended to. There's been general inflation, and it's impacted the construction budget to some degree and the scope to some degree. And so recall that our plan is every time we raise money, we have an opportunity to cover those costs and or add back scope, and things that come to mind are a full renovation of the kitchen where it's not going to be so at this stage, and then ultimately the renovation of the basement to make it a great social space as well. But those are on hold until another day, until we can raise the money that's necessary to do those. Next one, Dave. But there's good news on this $500,000. While we've been putting this together, we've had 2 donors come forward from the 88 to 92 era who have pledged to match donations up to $50,000 for that era. So this is 2 gentlemen, $25,000 apiece, that are choosing to remain anonymous, but have said, hey, this has been a life-changing event for me, and I want to make sure I'm challenging brothers in my era to go ahead and contribute as well. And they're challenging other donors to go ahead and step up and try and be matching donors. And this number doesn't have to be $25,000. It's great if it's a big number, but we get a bunch of $5,000 or $10,000 challenges, and it starts to make a big difference in cracking the $500,000 goal. So hopefully, as you consider, what you might be able to do and what your heart moves you to do, you might consider doing something, even a modest matching donor program would be very helpful as we represent other eras besides the 88s and the 92s. And then Dave, I think there's one more. And then move on to the next slide. This is a visual example coming up of what it might look like to achieve our goal. As I alluded to before, there's so many permutations of this matrix here, but this just gives you an idea. It doesn't have to be large donations. The road to $500,000 can be a lot more $5,000 and $2,500 donations as well. And I'm preaching to the choir here of people who have donated, and I'm very reverent about asking for more. And so really my challenge is, are there people in your era who are out there that you might be able to reach, where you could say, hey, are you planning to donate to this cause? I think part of the problems we have sometimes is, although our contact information for our alumni gets better and better as we've gone through this project, there's certainly brothers out there that we just don't have contact information for, and they're not seeing any of this. we still only have about 15% of our living alumni who have contributed. So just imagine if we made that 20% with some of these smaller gifts, we'd be over the top. We'd be way above $4 million. And so, if there's one or two guys from your pledge class that you kind of know where they are and you wonder what they've been up to, I really am, kind of encourage you to, call them and make sure they're aware of the program, and whether they donate or not, just make sure they're aware. And hopefully they would be moved by what we're doing and choose to donate. So I'll stop there. Thank you for your consideration. Thank you for all you're doing to make this possible. And as we move forward here, what I'm going to do is one more slide, I guess, Dave. There's one last piece here where if you are contemplating giving a gift, or you have somebody who is contemplating a gift, then feel free to send them my way. I'm happy to answer questions. I don't try and pin people down for an instant donation. I'm not that bloodthirsty. So I'm happy to toss things around and just make sure they're comfortable with the project and understand what's going on. And then also give them every opportunity to understand how they might support the project in whatever way they choose. So with that, what I'm going to do right now is pass it along to Kevin Kinsella, who is going to introduce our guest brother, Jim Gerke.
We don't want to miss Jim Gerke, who's our special guest brother today. One of the joys of doing this campaign has been re-engaging and meeting for the first time studs from other eras. And Jim, it's been a pleasure. You've been inspirational, and I'm going to ask him a few questions, and he's going to give us some good answers. He grew up in Wheaton, Illinois. He'll tell you more about that. Wheaton Central specifically. He said he graduated from there. I haven't seen his diploma, but that's what he told me. And he's a 7750. And we're going to have some nice back and forth with Jim right now, and I know you'll enjoy our time together. So Jim, thanks so much for jumping in and helping us out here. I know you spent 35 years in sales and marketing out in the Northwest area with Getty Images, the chief marketing officer. And you and your wife, Chris, live in Lake Shulin, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm trying to get it right. They don't let me out of Illinois very often, so I'm not real good with names. But and your son,
it's Lake Chelan.
Thank you so
right,
much,
Jim.
That's it. You got it.
Apologize. My parole officer won't let me leave the state, so that's a big help for me. And but his son Joey's 29 years old, and he's very proud of him. I hopefully tell us a little bit about him. And so Jim, give us thanks for joining us. Tell us about your years before attending Illinois and then pledging to you. What led you to our home?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kevin. I appreciate it. And it's good to see all this hard work from you and your fellow committee members. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Good to see everybody. So again, thanks for having me. Yeah, as you said, Kevin, I grew up in Wheaton, Illinois, with my parents. We had 4 kids. I had 2 brothers, 1 sister. I did attend Wheaton Central. I did, in fact, graduate from there, or at least I used a diploma to get into Illinois. But Wheaton Central is a storied institution that you've probably heard from before with some of my fellow brothers. But Wheaton Central was also the home of Red Grange, the Galloping Ghost, that has played a significant role at Illinois. When I was in the marching band there at Wheaton Central, we played on Grange Field all those years. Didn't really know what that meant until I was at Illinois. So that was pretty cool. Also had at Wheaton Central, Bob Woodward, several years, ahead of me, of the Woodward and Bernstein fame. And when I was at school, the 2 Belushi brothers, John and Jim Belushi, attended our school. So that was a blast. Those were 2 very interesting dudes at a high school level, and I'm not surprised that they went on to their own fame. But Wheaton Central had its own sort of very cool people in the form of alums that became DUs in our 70s era. So that was that's pretty fun. I went to high school with Bob Schleicher, who was our high school valedictorian. Went on to become a DU, as you all know. Walker Geyer, John Buist, Rob Graff. I know there's others. An honorable mention to a guy named Gary Gressley, who some of you know, but he went to Wheaton North, so we don't need to give him any more props. Sadly, and this will tie a little bit into what we're going to talk about later, but sadly, Wheaton Central had since been torn down and is now in downtown Wheaton, a Mariano's grocery store. So talk about a legacy gone wrong. You know, it's a high school that's no longer there. So I'm sad for that. It was a beautiful old building.
What, give us a sense as what led to Illinois, and probably more importantly, what led to Colby's Armory?
You know, well, when I was senior in high school or getting ready to apply to colleges, I knew at least I thought I wanted to be a civil engineer of all things, build bridges and cool things like that. And, you know, I knew from in-state situation that U of I was a great school, and you know, great engineering school. So I figured I would apply to there, and I was lucky enough to get in. I don't think I would get into Illinois today. I think back then it was a little easier to get into that big state school. But so that was an easy one to go to, you know, to pick Illinois amongst those that I had applied for. So when I got to Illinois, let's say three or four majors later, 5-year plan, ended up with a degree in economics and a minor in architecture, of all things. Architecture was one of the majors before it became a minor. But as for DU, I think it's probably similar to what everybody on this call would say. I would assume, and that's the, you know, the brotherhood, the fun, the friendships that you could see that were going to be able to be formed if I was able to be joined. And the house itself, I just loved that house. I thought it was a cool old place. And if you think about it, at that time, the house was almost exactly 50 years old when I pledged in 74. So the house was built in 1926, and it's now 100 years old. So it's a couple of really interesting milestones as it relates to my time at the house. But I went through informal rush that freshman year with Schleicher, with Bob, amongst others, and I was pretty well sold when two brothers from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Pete and Dick Ridley, came to my dorm room. This was during the informal rush period. Came to my dorm room, Taft Hall, down by the stadiums, and they had heard that I was a hockey player, and so they asked me if I wanted to join the DU intramural hockey team. So I thought, this is pretty freaking cool. I'm going to do that, and you know, hopefully they'll let me join the fraternity itself. And but it was really the guys that caused me to want to join, and I'm sure that it's the same as everybody else, but it made the decision an easy one, the nature of the people that I met and all that.
Well, just give us a quick overview of your time after you finished your 5-year plan at Illinois. What's happened since then?
Right after college, I was married briefly to my then college girlfriend, Barb, who I met at Boney's. Does anybody remember the bar Boney's? Boney's was a campus town bar in our era. I was assistant manager at the time, and I met Barb at the bar, and we got married not too long after that. She happened to be a Kappa Alpha Theta, so I was pretty chuffed to be hanging with a Theta. And but that marriage lasted all of 3 years, and went on to find my life partner and my bride of now 36 years, Chris, who we met together in Naperville when I was living there, working downtown Chicago. So it's been a great sort of family life from that standpoint. We had one young son as I embarked on a sales and marketing career that led to the year 2000 when we were transferred to Seattle I took on a big promotion at my company, Getty Images, which was, I don't know if you've heard of Getty Images, but it's a big company, billion-dollar company in the digital content space. And I was asked to head up sales for North America, good-sized sales organization, but I had to move to Seattle to do it, and I loved it. So our young family moved to Seattle, did that for, 12 more years until 2013, when after 2 transactions with private equity firms, one in California and one in New York, bought us 2 different times, bought Getty. I was able to retire early in 2013, and we never looked back. So we built our dream home out here in Lake Chelan. It's in the other side of the mountains from Seattle, and Have enjoyed life here, staying active with nonprofits. The main nonprofit I've been associated with is the Seattle Aquarium. I've been on the board of directors there for the last almost 20 years.
That's fabulous. What a great volunteer. I'm sure you learned how to volunteer. Back to you.
I should mention one thing, Kevin. You mentioned my son, Joey. I wanted to express the pride I have in him. Joey is a 29-year-old now, but he is in the U.S. Navy and is in Virginia Beach and serving in a pretty elite special ops unit of the Navy. He dives, he jumps out of airplanes. He's in harm's way often. So just wanted to give him a shout out for the pride I have in his commitment that he's made to the country.
As well you should. We're all lucky to have him helping us. Nice job. Good
Yeah,
parenting. Tell us about some of your reflections on DU of the house. And I know we spoke ahead of time. There had some emotional components to this. If you don't mind sharing a little bit, I think it's very relevant to what we're talking about today.
Yeah. When I pledged DU, as I said, 50 years ago right now, I just had no idea what kind of impact the fraternity would have on my life. At the time, of course, it was all about fun, making friends, partying, enjoying the brotherhood to be. But as much fun as that was, I was also well aware during my time at DU at the house that this was a house filled with really strong students, strong men, strong brothers, future mentors for me in the house and otherwise, not just upperclassmen above me, but those in my class and beyond. It just became a really, really exciting time for me in college, and I loved my time at DU at Illinois. But and maybe this is the same as you guys, but for me, the biggest impact on me has been the biggest surprise. And what makes DU special for me is the lifelong friendships that have struck. I had no idea that would be the case. When I was an undergrad and I'd see old guys coming back for homecoming, I thought, man, what brings him here? Or, for the football game and maybe a visit to the house. But the lifelong friendships is what's really standing out, Kevin, for me. And it was proven, you talked about a personal thing I shared with you the other day, but it was just 2 years ago now. I was stricken suddenly with a really debilitating disease. Very surprised. It's an autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And within about 4 hours that morning, I was admitted to the emergency room, fully paralyzed up to my neck for the better part of 6 weeks. Had to basically go through life-saving treatment and in the ICU for 3 weeks. Physical therapy for another 3 weeks inpatient. And during that time, it was a pretty dark period and pretty scary period, but the outpouring of support from the brothers, dozens and dozens of brothers, has just been an incredible source of healing for me and just reminding me of what's important in life. And I have to give a shout out to Kim Cox, 76. Many of you know Kim. His father was a DU, but Kim has been instrumental in keeping together many of the brothers from the 60s, 70s, and 80s with a big giant email chain that we all, stay together with, and it's caused us to get together with trips and friends and all that kind of stuff. So I just think that it's the lifelong friendships that has been the enduring thing for me, and actually the relationship with my DU brothers has been, I think, the highlight of my life.
That's fabulous. Thanks for sharing the story. I'm glad you're on the other side of your challenge.
Yeah,
It sounds
definitely.
like the guys really made a difference. Not surprised. Not at all. So why now? What moved you to participate generously in this campaign financially?
I've given some bucks here and there, through the years to the various campaigns. There's been several, the basketball court, the, repair and maintenance stuff, get your name on a little plaque kind of things through the years. But when I heard about this campaign, it felt absolutely transformational. I mean, the house was at risk of being razed, meaning coming down altogether. It's a 100-year-old house, and it's a magnificent house in its own right. The style of the house, the bones, the stories, if those bones could talk kind of thing. My time at that house was something that I treasure, and it was at risk of ending. Not the brotherhood. It was going to be the brothers would be in a building one way or the other. New building, an apartment style building. But I wanted to be part of restoring and giving new life to this 100-year-old treasure of architecture. So for me, I felt really strongly that I was being pulled to both give back, to my time there, what it's done for me, and also to pay it forward to future generations and what it could mean for them. Didn't realize when I was in school that there were probably those before me that had given to keep the house running for that first 50 years. So I just felt as though it was my time. But then I saw Chuck and the amazing work he is doing, the unselfish work he's doing to provide his vision and architecture expertise to this project. And when I saw those first couple of videos walking through the house, seeing what it can now become and the scale of this operation, I decided to give a bit more. And in fact, I just decided to double the initial pledge that I made. And so for me, it was an easy choice. I talked it over with my wife, Chris, and we agreed that it was a perfect thing to do at the right time. So I want to see this 100-year-old treasure endure for many generations to come.
Indeed, you will. Thank you for your generosity. Anything else you'd like to share while we have the couple minutes?
Well, I guess I would just say it would be great if my fellow brothers, but as you said on this call, they probably are all donors already. But I would hope that my fellow brothers, especially from my era, would decide to give and give generously. And whether it's a new donation or if it's like in my case, if you've made a pledge already and are inspired to up that pledge a bit or even double it, that would be wonderful. I mean, so at that point, after this thing is said and done and the money is raised, we can all look forward to getting together next September and hopefully it'll come together in one of those weekends in September. I think we'll hear more about it as this meeting continues. But I can't wait to be there. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well.
Well, I can't wait to shake your hand in person. Tell me of the reunion. If somebody's sitting on the fence whether to attend the reunion or not, what would you offer to that brother?
Did you say that again? Sorry.
Sure. If someone is sitting on the fence whether they should go to Champaign in September for the reunion or not, what would you say to that brother of yours?
What I would say, and this is a personal reflection because I'm of the older generations, as a mid-70s grad, but as we continue to grow older, there's just not going to be that many more of these kinds of opportunities to get together with our buddies and friends from, our immediate and adjacent classes, and even meet some of the younger generation classes and so forth, or even guys that are the rare number of guys that are older than my class, guys like Mike Clark and from his era. I want to go down there and see this for myself, this grand opening and this ribbon cutting, but also to see all the guys. I would say I would like people to go whether or not they are donors. I mean, you don't have to be a donor to be a loyal brother of DU, and my goal would be to have everybody do that. Just one last personal story to share, and it really brings it home for me is, so I told you about a thing that happened 2 years ago. Well, 5 years ago, 6 of us, brothers from my era, Tony Sutton, Walker Geyer, Kim Lewis, Mike Conan, Ken Hecht, and I embarked on a magnificent reunion at Tony's Northern Arkansas kind of mountaintop retreat. He had something like 200 acres in Northern Arkansas. And we met up there in the spring of 2019. We had a blast. I mean, we were doing the stuff that you would just expect, the 6 of us guys. It was four-wheeling. He owned 6 four-wheelers for us to bounce around the mountain on. We were axe throwing against wooden targets. We were eating, drinking, partying, doing the whole thing. And we had decided right then and there that we were going to do it again the next year or the years after. but it was not to be. As of now, 5 years later, 2 of the 6 of us are no longer with us. Tony is gone. Mike Conan is gone. And it just puts in perspective the need to take these treasured moments of the opportunity to have a reunion like this and see our brothers, beyond those little group get-togethers. I was just in Oregon recently for the Illini football game. It was a shitty football game. I mean, it was, Illinois didn't play well, but we didn't go there for that. We went there because it was going to be about half a dozen of us DUs that were going to get together in Eugene, Oregon, and see if we could, show our colors and hopefully stay out of trouble. And it was a great time.
Well,
So
thanks so
I'm
much.
looking forward to meeting brothers young and old in September and hope the rest can join us.
Yeah, the fun part is someone 35 years younger than you has the same guiding principles, and it's gonna be special. Thank you so much for your participation tonight, and just in general, you're a real inspiration.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks. Appreciate you having me.
I'm gonna pass it over to Chuck, who's got some really cool stuff inside the house, and take it away.
Good evening, brothers. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm on my iPhone right now. So,
Perfect.
Oh, good.
yeah, and I'll start my clock now because I can talk for a while on this stuff. So, we've had a really nice opportunity to not tear down a nostalgic, magnificent 100-year-old treasure. It's all of our treasure, and we've all participated in many different ways in the brotherhood and the building, and I think we owe it to that next generation to pay it forward, since it's left so many, lasting impressions on all of us with a lot of memories. So you have my commitment. I really enjoy this project. It can take a lot of time at times, but it's hopefully going to pay off for 100 more years of brothers walking through the front door. And I do a lot of different types of projects, a lot of different types of dollar value, but nothing is as intricate as the DU house. It's kind of a spectacular property, and we are just going to literally take it to the next level. So I spend my waking hours and all hours in between dedicated to the project and making it move forward to the finish line. We have, a lot of work that has been done, and we still have a lot of work to do. But every contribution will go a long way, and it's being spent wisely. I grew up in a family of 9 children, so we got good at doing things with stretching a nickel as far as we can, but also sensibly doing that. So one of the big things is not tearing down a building like this. It would just be kind of a huge mistake, in my opinion, financially, but also just the true character of the building and the memories and all that kind of thing that goes with it, and all those memories that are going to happen in the future. So one thing that you can go to the next slide if you want, which I think is the front stair. So no less than, a couple hours went into this sketch, this pencil sketch on a piece of paper, but that is actually going to become a reality. We have had to analyze all the fire safety issues with an open stair, and one of those things is to provide a fire barrier that is it's a rolled up fire shutter at the ceiling, and it's in a narrow slot about 1.5 inches wide, and it comes down like a whole curtain and closes off that entrance. So what you see in the image on the flanking left and right sides is the track enclosures, but those jams that we call, and the head that we call at the top, the horizontal piece, those are going to match the adjacent plastered opening with that kind of scallop corner. So we've been able to lay it out so that we maintain all that existing cove molding in the front room as you walk through that front door. And I think I did note some minor criticism, I think, in the chat on one of these last meetings, and so I took some time to update the railing design, which keeps in context of a 1920s vintage ironwork railing. And so all of the railing on all walkable surfaces is going to be ground off. You see the first floor is going to have a whole new section on that left side, and then we'll have a walk-off single step up, and that'll go in two directions. So when you walk off, you could go to the right, or you could come towards this, out of the screen towards the front door. So what I did do with that railing design is integrate the Delta and the Upsilon characters in there. So if you zoom in on the railing, that's a repeated icon going up that stair. Adds a lot of visual interest. It's simple. It's all made out of steel. It will last a long time. And so we're keeping the existing walkable surface, which is a steel channel and a concrete filled metal pan. And it will, it's a good stair. It just doesn't look good yet. So we're taking all these little details and integrating those into the existing stair and keeping, I'd say, 95% of what's there. So that's another value-oriented decision, but I think it's a good one. So that whole first floor level, we have that nice dark Ipe Brazilian walnut flooring on the first floor that's going to get finished in a natural oil finish. That'll be the same walkable wood stair riser. I'm sorry, stair tread cap going up to the second floor. In addition to that, we're going to cap the undersides of all that ugly hardware that's underneath that existing stair and just put a nice clean flat ceiling underneath and close that off underneath, which also will have recessed lighting underneath there. So the lighting quality as you walk in the front door, all of this will be highlighted substantially, and it'll be a nice icon feature and kind of, hey, what's up there, and it's all open to the second floor, to the new and improved Lounge 5. So there's also another opening up there with the doorway. So there'll be a lot of nice connectivity visually and acoustically. So that's most of the front stair. Also have a wood cap that matches all the oak woodwork. So most of the context of what was existing is getting maintained, but it's just going to be updated in such a nice format that I don't want to over promise expectations, but I'm pretty excited about this particular item. And along with all the other things on the first floor getting refurbished and refinished, there's no better improvement than a really good restoration and paint job. So that's not a huge amount of money, but that first floor is good looking now, but it'll be even better looking at the end. You can go to the next slide. So within each bedroom suite, we will have a packaged furniture set up with an armoire, which is the closet with a couple of drawers underneath, and then also an elevated bed. That elevated bed can have the legs removed and be a low bed. This type of arrangement with the lofted bed that can be moved around anywhere in the room is highly versatile. You could pull the desks and the dresser out from underneath that. You could have a cop. Oh, uh-oh. So my fire alarm system's working because my son's making a pizza right now.
We actually don't hear it, Chuck, strangely enough.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't hear that?
No.
Oh, okay, good. Well, then we'll just let that go. That's something else.
AI and Teams filters out background noise, including that.
Okay. Well, this is going to be annoying for me, and I hope my house doesn't burn down. But as you can see, we spend some money on fire safety, personally and professionally. So, the good news about the furnishings is they can be arranged in a compact vertical arrangement, or they can be kind of spread out. Some of our rooms are fairly long, and so I can see where somebody will rotate that closet and put it on the wall, rotated. Yeah, go to the next one. Here's a little more personalized setup with a sofa, sofa lounge set. There's a low bed, and there's any number of different setups that you can have. So here's one with a different color. We're not going with that color scheme. We'll be going with more of a rich dark floor tone, but these are all steel, welded steel construction that has a nice kind of pebble finish paint, and then a nice wood look plastic laminate. And then the chairs are all steel and call it high performance plastic back, so they will bend, but they won't break. They're good for a lot of cycles. So you can see where somebody's put an area rug in there, and it just sets it off really well. So yeah, you can keep going. So here's a more of a typical arrangement for our 2-man rooms. I think, you know, this will fit nicely in wider rooms, 15, 14 rooms like that. And yeah, so it's essentially a giant Lego set. Here's a 3-man setup. We don't have any 3-man bedrooms, but this is a company that is around, and we can always add should membership go up. I think there's 38 guys planned to move in this coming fall. So we're fortunate enough to get even more guys for the next semester following. We can fit them in. Tom Jufrenbrook even slept on a floor when he was at the house, but we'll upgrade and give everybody a bed, I think. So I didn't know that. We really packed them in back in the day. So so that's the planning strategy. The rooms are a little bare bones, but it's meant to be personalized for each brother's choice. You know, he put whatever he wants on the walls. You know, their bedding. Guys aren't into pillows and stuff like that, but you know, there'll be nice work environments that you can study and you'll be able to sleep nicely. So there's you know, central air and central heating. Actually was down there today. We're going through some of the details on the windows. We've had a little bit of delay with some of the windows getting there, but they will be there finally Friday, along with skylights for the 4th floor. And the really cool thing about the windows is, instead of doing a replacement window where it gets inset into the old window, we've extracted all the old windows to the max opening. So we're maxing out on existing masonry openings and things like that. A lot of those stucco walls were just, you could put your hand through them. All that work's been dealt with. And we're really puzzled that the building was not leaking, because we've replaced so much rotten wood. We did the equivalent on the roof, for instance, of peeling it back, the whole roof membrane that I think, Dan, you were instrumental in getting all those flat deck roofs replaced. So that brand new roof membrane was just peeled back like a sardine can. All the wood was like repaired and replaced and fixed, and then it was put back nice and neat and sealed up. So the building didn't really leak before, and it definitely doesn't leak now. So that's really exciting. And I don't know if do I have more slides? I can't remember what we added in.
That's it, Chuck.
That's it. That's
it for
fine
slides.
where to leave it. The funny thing is, today we did get a visit from the state fire marshal, and he was a pretty cool guy. He was asking who I was. He just walked in the back door, and he doesn't have to come back because we got rid of our boiler. All of our mechanical system heating plants are going to be lower BTU, and there'll be more of them. Therefore, the fire safety aspect of having this gigantic locomotive boiler in the basement, that's just history. So I thought that was pretty cool. That from a fire safety standpoint.
What are we gonna do with rushies?
Yeah, I don't know. You can still take them down there. And then getting back to like the budget and the schedule, there's certain things that add to the schedule with scope, and that goes with the budget. We do have, lists of wants and needs, like Dan touched on, depending on where we end up. Like the kitchen may or may not get a lot of new equipment. A lot of that equipment does work, but we can always phase that in over time to replace it. But it's tens of thousands of dollars for each one of these line items that we would want, but do we need them? So we've got, and we've also have some deferred maintenance that we have. Our building is not falling down masonry wise. But it does need to be tuck pointed. If we can, we'll get that tuck pointed, but if not, we'll defer that to another time. So I will be back there on Friday, and I would say this, that, I know a lot of people are not on Facebook, but we will be having some videos coming out and some updates going forward. I'm going to be out of town over the holidays, so probably look for that more coming after the first of the year. But exciting news is our windows are finally arriving, and that everything I see, it's really going to be a really cool transformation. And as soon as the windows go in, depending on the weather, all the new high performance siding and Tudor style stucco trim goes back up. So that's a long-lasting, durable product called LP Smart Trim. So Louisiana Pacific makes a really nice product. Low maintenance, pre-painted in a factory. All of the trim and everything is just going to sing. It's going to look really good. So that's my report. Look for more things in the future. We'll be getting the stairs going in the coming couple of months here, and all of the other things behind the walls are still ongoing. Most of our repair work is pretty well figured out and done. So the roof is solid. The walls are now solid. All the existing brickwork and masonry is solid, and it's an exciting time. So look for new things and pictures after the first of the year, or sooner, on the new windows on the outside. I'm done. I can keep talking, but I think that's
No,
enough.
Chuck, thank you. I mean, if people want to hang on in the end, we can take some Q&A on specific questions, but appreciate the update. And Dave, if you want to advance us then to, I think Kevin and company are up next.
Indeed, we are. Hopefully your calendars are getting marked up. New home, 312 East Armory is going to be great. As Jim Gerke mentioned earlier, don't assume that you're going to get a chance to see these people the rest of your life. I mean, this is your shot, and do not miss it. And so look for a lot of fun. You can advance, Dave. The actual date we're trying to solidify in it right now. We're dependent on the Athletic Association to give us a final football schedule. We are avoiding a football weekend so we can get the hotel spaces we want, etc. They're preoccupied now because of the bowl game. Instead of releasing next year's schedule, they're trying to sell bowl game tickets. So we're hoping we'll know in the next couple of weeks. As far as registering, we're putting together an online registration form for you. The actual registration probably will be announced right around the Super Bowl, something like that. But rest assured, we have a large hotel block, very large hotel block. You won't get shut out of rooms. It'll all work out just fine. And guests are welcome. And we want everybody to come join the celebration. Dave, advance. Hopefully you're saving all these dates. The date in red, the 5th, 6th, and 7th, the one we're shooting for, we think is about a 95% Likelihood that's going to be the date it's going to happen. It's the weekend after Labor Day, but we'll publicize it as soon as we know. We're checking almost on a weekly basis. So put that on your calendar, start to make your arrangements, and we'll let you know. You can advance, Dave. This is how the agenda looks. This juncture, Friday, arrive around 3 o'clock. We'll have a Reunion Central Hotel, and we're solidifying arrangements there. And the main reception then for the weekend will be that evening, beginning at 5 and going officially till 9 at the hotel. It should be a great celebration. And then what happens after 9, I don't care. You do whatever you want. And just have a ball, and hopefully you'll be in some condition to be able to join us on Saturday back at the house, which starts at 9 o'clock. And there'll be the house situation's coming together beautifully. We got arrangements for a tent, the basketball court, tables, chairs, catering, smoker. It's gonna be a really great day. Notice too, we're accommodating for shuttle buses to take people back and forth from the Reunion Central Hotel. That some really good news to break here. Scott Parker, class of 8350, has generously indicated he's going to pay for the buses for us, which is a wonderful treat, which will save us some money, and we can apply it to other items. And then on Sunday, you'll be on your own, as you will the end of the rest of the afternoon on Saturday. It's going to be a great time. You can advance, please. What else can I tell you? One answer, just you're not going to get shut out of a room. We got that handled. One of the things we're trying to do logistically is we want to earn more rooms. So when you do book, they'll be booking directly through the registration links we send out. But please book within the block if you could. It's not from a monetary reason, but if we use up the block, we can get more rooms and increase the block. And because we're hoping to fill this thing up and take up majority of the hotel. So again, we'll publicize all this stuff soon. Advance, please. And just as far as budgeting, it's looking like we're coming in around $150 per person for the event. And then you want to add on your travel and your lodging, and the buses will be included in that. Again, the best thing you can do is put those dates on your calendar and start bugging your brothers to put it on theirs. As Jim indicated earlier, everyone is welcome. This is a chance for everybody to be together, and let's not squander that opportunity. That's all I got. Peter, are you on by any chance?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Dave, can you bring Peter up on the screen? Yeah, you're such a good-looking guy. I want to make sure we had you full throttle.
Thanks, Kevin.
Peter's our stud, who's our on-site liaison for the reunion, and he's been working the house, working the guys. Sorry, I didn't get to you sooner. What's going on campus? So, give us some sight. Give us the temperature of the guys with the reunion and the reconstruction and the whole thing. Give us a sense what's going on down there.
Sure, yeah. All props to you, Kevin. All you and Dave are doing the heavy work, and so I really appreciate you guys. I'm just here on campus. Some updates for you guys, though. We just initiated our class of 2028. A lot of whom are on this call right now amongst the other undergraduates, but I think I just speak on behalf of us that we just say thank you for all the support you guys are giving to us, and the excitement for the new house is just like overwhelming. We're texting in our group chat about the slides that Chuck was presenting. We're so excited to see this new house, and we're already thinking about like, oh, who's gonna get what room? What will 5 look like now? It's very exciting. And so yeah, things are going great here. We're still using our senior house for everything. We just had our elections this past weekend, and it's going well. We're just really excited to be in this new house and celebrate it with all of you.
Go ahead, Mike, you ask.
Peter, it looks like the banner that was promised is now in place. Is that something that is going to help with your brush efforts and with the spirit of the house?
I think it will. I haven't seen it yet because I heard it just went up today. But no, I think it will. We've heard so many questions, just like out and about, hearing from other people. They're always wondering, like, what happened to the DU house? Are you guys getting shut down? And I think it'll be easier to explain to people. But also, I think that it's just like a really good place to put the banner, just showing that, yeah, we're coming back. It'll be a great house. And it's really going to help our rush efforts. We're so excited to rush a new class of 2029 in this new house.
Awesome. Thanks for all your efforts. It's going to be a fun
Thank you guys.
run the next 9 months. All right, buddy.
Yes.
We'll turn it back over to Mike. Maybe Mike, you can wrap it up for us. Would you?
Sure. Thanks again for everybody in attendance. We've received some great information this evening, and we're here because the chapter past was solid and stood the test of time, as we heard earlier from our special guest. And we're here to now because the chapter present is strong. It's spirited and full of promise. And we're here because the chapter future depends on us. Just as we received a great gift from past generations of DUs, we now in Thanksgiving need to pay that gift forward. And we all know there is no Santa Claus. And we are all the elves in the workshop of this chapter renovation. So thank you for your support. Stay with us throughout the renovation. Help us further if you can. You saw the QR image on the screen earlier, and see that for any further support or any new support. We all wish you a Merry and blessed Christmas. And save the date for our next virtual chapter meeting, which will be March 13th next year. Thank you.
Mike, thank you so much. We're finishing just about on time, so it all came together. Again, we appreciate you guys tuning in to see what's going on. And I guess if there's any pressing questions that anyone wants to bring forward, we're happy to take a few minutes and try and answer them.
Yeah, me and a few 27s, we're all together watching your video right now, and we had a few questions about the hedges. They're on the plans right now. Do you guys fully intend to make those a reality?
The what? I missed it.
Oh, there's like on the plans, there's hedges that follow the path. Currently, those don't exist in the house. We were just wondering if you guys were planning on making those.
Yeah, so there's some perimeter hedges planned around the outside. That's a want and not a need. So it happens at the end, but we'll see where we're at the end. The planting season doesn't really start until our ribbon cutting time. August and Champagne's kind of a complicated time to plant anything that's going to live. So hopefully we can get some effort from everybody to add some of these finishing touches at that time. But that is it. That is the plan, is to line it with hedges.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else? And if you don't want to ask now, if you put it in the chat, we'll try and go through those, or just shoot me an email. We can come back and answer questions the next time around. Anybody else?
Dan, there's a tomorrow or the next day, there'll be an email going out with this recording of the chapter meeting. The best thing all the folks on this call could do is forward that to anybody and everybody you can think of who might enjoy and learn from it. So please take advantage of doing that.
That's perfect. Thank you, Kevin. So if there's no burning questions, we can wrap it up. And again, thank you for taking the time to listen to the update and for your support. We're getting there. So we just got to keep pushing. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful holiday. Great Christmas.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Really
Same
great
to you.
presentation.
Well done. Thanks.
Take care, guys.